Hello there! I need 40 tattoos to make myself mean! Oh, that right here! Yeah! I got a Spider-Woman on my back!
You have dolphins on your back.
Awesome!
Hating on houseguest fashion is built into the Big Brother viewing experience.
Because if I see Mike Boogie wear a Dolce shirt one more time on the show, really.
Longtime fans will remember that painful era when every houseguest brought at least 2 of these sarcastic graphic t-shirts into the house. These are mostly for Fortnite children nowadays, but it was once socially acceptable for adults on national TV to wear shit like Department of Redundancy Department, or worse.
It's inappropriate!
At times, I have been ready to get militant on some of these outfits, and thankfully the producers have rewarded that bloodlust from time to time.
Everyone knows this is the worst clothing item in the house. Yes!
But of all the pieces of BB clothing I've transfixed on over the years, none has fascinated me more than Dolphincrash and the strange man behind it.
I would rather eat slob for a month than have to sit and talk to Zach for an hour.
There have always been social outcasts, useless players, and class clown types on this show, but Zach is sort of a combination of all three. Plus, he managed to alienate the producers, and as a result, he mostly disappeared from the TV show he was supposed to be on. But when he does pop up, it's golden.
Day one, when they wanted to align with me, I said, whatever. Zach, you want to leave us alone for a second, please? Just 1 second.
Michael.
Hey, Toby. Hey, you know what? I have an idea. Why don't you leave right now? Why don't you walk away from the room, okay?
He's both invisible and hard to ignore. And as he bumbles in the background through the game, that logo is staring you in the face. It's burned in your brain. It is never acknowledged or explained on the show, but Dolphincrash was a half-baked concept for a swimwear fashion company. And yes, the logo is his extremely mid-2000s back tattoo. He was hoping the reality show exposure would help him launch this beachy lifestyle brand, the next Salt Life perhaps. But it perfectly encapsulates everything you need to know about Zach as a player, as a TV character, and as a would-be entrepreneur. It's all the same story, really.
Who is this clown?
He's got big, lofty ideas and a path to success, but it kind of falls apart in the follow-through. And yes, I realize that no one is talking about Dolphincrash Zach these days. He's been completely overshadowed by... But we have enough Zanky moments to last us until the end of time, so I guess it's up to me with all my clout to make the case for original Zach. The comic relief loser of the cast who somehow came extremely close to winning everything, on a rigged season that was engineered in a lab so that another loser could win.
To Dick Donato.
Thank you, sir.
To me, it says Big Brother is less a game of calculating chess-like moves and counter moves, but rather the chaos of a Mario Party minigame. You know, Luigi wins by doing absolutely nothing. And that chaos comforts me. If the producers are going to do all this bullshit now, then fuck it. I'm rooting for the Victorias of the world.
And then we sort of stir it up with a twist or two and some great competitions.
Y'all have left me no choice. I want to tell you the full story of this man and this shirt, simply for the reason that the producers want you to forget about him. And because I'm not the only one who cares.
For now, let's eavesdrop on the All-Stars.
It cannot be.
Ian brought the second coming of Dolphincrash, the perfect deep cut at a time when we're supposed to be thinking about the great players of modern Big Brother. It was one of the few lights in the darkness of All-Stars 2. So, in honor of this historic occasion, let's briefly look back at this polarizing season and deconstruct Zach's character, as well as dig through what remains of 2007 internet for what actually happened with Dolphincrash, and how in the course of making this video, I weirdly became part of the story. Though no one asked for it, this is the definitive history of Dolphincrash. So what was casting going for exactly? This is Big Brother 8 after all, or as I like to refer to it,
Sloppy Summer!
After All Stars 1, longtime showrunner Arnold Shapiro left and Alison Grodner took over as main executive producer. And she kicked off a new era with more focus on over-the-top characters and soap opera-style narrative arcs.
It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It could be really good for our relationship.
Somehow, I immaculately conceived gonorrhea.
What? While Jessica is being nice to Carol's face, she couldn't be happier that her former best friend forever is already on the chopping block.
Add in a holy war and America's player shenanigans, there wasn't much room for a simple man like Zach in this more narratively stylized version of Big Brother. And that probably has a lot to do with the fact that he was the last guy added to the cast in the days leading up to premiere. According to how he tells the story, Zach was used couch shopping on Craigslist and saw a casting ad. He submitted his pictures and told them, "I guarantee I can sell myself because I'm the typical frat boy Aries competitive asshole guy. But I'm a southern gentleman and I have a lot of charm and charisma with my gameplay."
Okay.
He smooth talked his way into an interview, and 4 days later, he's on his way to sequester.
I'm Zach. I'm gonna outthink the competition.
God, I hope this was the couch that needed replacing. Please tell me this was not the replacement couch. All he had to do was tell them he played competitive online chess, and that was enough. You know how much they love the chess symbolism. I think the producers had grown accustomed to having Howie around for back-to-back seasons, and they wanted to add another big dude with a nerdy side.
Trying to use balance techniques and mind over matter and pulling a whole Jedi moment.
The Force was not with me tonight, Master Yoda.
A last-second addition to the BB-8 jock cohort. They had Nick.
Nick's in the major league. He's a good-looking stud boy, beefcake.
And they had Mike and his empty, blank, 1,000-yard stare.
Mike Dutz used to eat piles of cold cuts. I mean, like stacks of it. He ate the house out of cold cuts, and we called him Meat Log Mike because he'd roll them up in these logs.
And I guess Zach was a way to balance the group with at least the facade of some brain power.
I'd like to call myself a silent assassin. All I can do is plant seeds of doubt. Little do they know, I'm a force to be reckoned with.
But both narratively and gameplay-wise, it does not take long to realize that the chess strategist archetype is all bullshit. Even with all these mental comps.
The majority said Danielle A. I'm sorry, Zach. Zach and Jessica, the four of you got it wrong. That is correct. Who are you eliminating?
Zach.
Zach, step down. Zach.
Carol.
That is incorrect. It is Mike. Zach, you've been eliminated. True. Dick and Zach, you've been eliminated.
And though his alliance is central to the action in the first few weeks, the producers are more interested in framing the Mrs. Robinson alliance as Kale's initiative.
Why all men?
Well, that wasn't my plan coming into the house, but Zach approached me first. I ran with Zach's idea, and...
Not that it matters, since the whole thing unravels by week 2.
Is there an alliance? Seriously.
I have no idea. I'm trying to figure that out myself.
And by week 5, he's totally alone, and both the house and the producers stop paying much attention to him. But exactly how invisible of a character is Zach? I was recently introduced to the work of a hero in the Big Brother community who spent 4 years compiling an exhaustive count of every houseguest diary room sessions across every episode of every season. I'm interested in these numbers, the average number of times we get to hear from a particular houseguest each episode. It's like a stat for comparing how much of a character each player is. If you look at Big Brother 3, for example, we obviously heard from Danielle way more than people like Roddy or Jerry. But overall in these old seasons, the audience gets to hear directly from everyone 6, 7, 8 times an episode on average. Then Alison Grodner took over, and not everything or everyone is narratively strong enough to survive the edit room. Now, Silent Mike had the standout, historically low performance of the year. With only 16 total DRs, he's near the bottom of the all-time leaderboards. He's down there tied with Glenn. But then again, Meatlog Mike didn't say much of anything.
I know 4 things about you. You're from Wisconsin. You like planes. You're a model, and you eat a lot of meat.
Zach's average per episode is still super low at 3.13, which is ridiculous when you consider he made it to the final 3. If you compare him to all other Final 3 groups, no one had ever been that invisible. And so far, he's only been surpassed by Victoria from BB16 and Holly from 21. And keep in mind their seasons had bigger casts overall. But to be fair, when you listen to this guy in the DR, can you really blame them?
My end game has to be adaptive to whatever situation is going to put me in the best positive situation.
He sounds like me in high school trying to pump the word count on an essay. But with Zach the game player dead on arrival, he pivoted to a new identity. You best start believing in cringe compilations. You're in one. Right around Mike's eviction, the producers finally clue us in on how bad Zach's social game has been going, with a very special 2-minute segment.
I did this comic book convention in Atlanta. Tons of freaks, 5 girls, stripped naked, upside down on chains, wrapped in saran wrap, your favorite thing, the ball gag, cat o' nine tails on fire, beat the out of these women upside down until the flames went out.
This is what happens when you're trying to be Howie without any of the charm and charisma. Up until this point, they had tried to make him the lovable frat boy humor source of the house.
The women in the house are really hot. From Austria, Magnus von Wagnussen, Kragsnuss von Zwangsnuss.
Like, if I had like a top 5 list of guys.
I don't have a top 5 guys.
I don't like bad. I would do anything with any guys unless they're on.
But this man is 30 years old. It just doesn't translate. It also doesn't help that his favorite bit is comedic cock blocking.
Oh. Eric.
Oh, for the love of God. Somebody, please.
Ooh, I kind of like the clench. That's the clench. Hello there.
Pretty bold move right there. Head to the boobs. That's pretty inappropriate.
This is inappropriate.
This interview with Zach's college roommate confirms that yes, he's been doing this for years. Zach is reinvented his house punching bag in spectacular fashion.
Could I please have a blue one? Could I please have a blue one?
Zach was very adamant about being on the blue team, so then I grabbed the red bandanas.
And everyone gets in on the game. The best is when he declares his allegiance to someone who we know is talking shit about him elsewhere.
Nick is my greatest ally in the game.
But I'm just telling you straight up, I'm not in a alliance with Zach or Jenna. I hate them.
But special recognition goes to how much Jamaica hates him.
Anyway.
What did you say, Zach? You said emotional? I think it's empathetic. I don't think emotional.
Nice for you to finally say something to me.
When do I say much to you normally?
You don't.
Well, then how is this any different?
It's not.
Zach is my least favorite person here. You
That's
said
exactly
Zach is
what
no
I
threat.
said.
Oh, why do we want Zach out of the game?
You
He's a
want Zach
nobody. Zach already knows we don't get along. What's your point?
I've looked back through the live feed recap archives, and it's pretty much the same story. Day 21, Zach declares it Pick on Zach Day. They joke about Zach being the creepy perv in the house, how he said he hopes the food comp is eating panties. Zach comes in. Dick says Zach looks like Shrek. Hold on, let me just... I mean, that's getting us there. Or maybe I've just remade Dragon Ball Evolution. Zach is naive, but not totally unaware of his pariah status, and tries to embrace his new persona.
Hey guys, it's your neighborhood Roger. What's going on?
What up?
I will also give him credit for an important innovation for future Big Brother outcasts. Also on day 21. It's a risky move. Did not work out well for Joey, did not work out well for Jace. But then again, Ian Terry was almost a first week sacrifice himself until he started kicking himself in the face and pulling the old Dolphincrash.
Watched you on this show since I was 10. I learned from one of the best.
And becoming Shrek kind of works for Zach.
Zach, honestly, without Nick, he's
an
a
idiot.
fish out of water. So I
He's
don't see him as
nothing.
anything.
More importantly, the viewers also didn't care about getting Zach out the door. So Eric was always pushing for someone else.
I was thinking Kel and Zach.
No, then Zach will go home.
It makes sense. The producers already had their chosen house pariah in Jen. From the get-go, they want you to enjoy her ridicule. As a Jen apologist, I could discuss this at length, but all I will say is that Jensa member, Genius, it's simply iconic. The fact that we get a whole segment about these shirts and nothing about Dolphincrash really sums it up.
You were definitely one of the most compelling house guests we've ever had.
And that's just a guy we found on Craigslist. Try to ignore him. But maybe there's more to the story. Maybe he's just a victim of the edit, and secretly behind the scenes he wasn't so bad. I spent hours combing the live feed archives for something positive, and all I found was day 35. Zach thought he had ringworm, which set the whole house into a panic. Amber saying he never washes his hands, even after he takes a shit. Every house guest individually goes to the DR demanding the house be disinfected. My man, you pulled a fucking Jerry?
Because he just touching things and just is nasty. Come on! Right now! Who's the spokesperson?
The Great Ringworm panic aside, the producers, the remaining house guests, and all of us watching had written this guy off. While we're anticipating the final showdown between our main characters of the season, the supporting cast finally shows up to play. This was the first ever slippery slope competition, and historically it has favored the big boys pretty heavily. But at the time, the idea that Zach could win anything did not seem possible.
Oh god.
Hey! Zero to hero!
Having just evicted Amber over Zach, this absolutely breaks Eric.
I spent the entire week trying to reassure Jessica that Zach is a weak competitor and that Zach cannot beat me, Dick, and Danielle in any form of competition.
And it's the first time we get to see some visible frustration over the America's Player job. He instantly knows how this is going to play out, because the Donatos have actually taken the time to develop a relationship with Zach.
Definitely my friendship with Zach has paid off.
He can't play his own game, and of all people, he is going to lose at the hands of
An ogre and a 44-year-old pervert.
My galaxy brain theory is that Zach really chooses the Donatos over Jessica and Eric because he feels threatened by a potential challenger to the Dolphincrash brand.
Oh, that Booyah shirt that you got?
Yeah.
They're making them in Kansas.
They are?
People are buying those shirts out.
I also fear you in the end game for me.
By inexplicably winning competitions at the most critical juncture of the season, Zach oversees the abrupt end of the Summer of Stein.
I'd really like to use it, but I'm not. I'm not going to use it. I made an oath to my group.
It's a real dilemma because part of me will always hate that it had to end like this.
Not like this.
But I'm so very thankful we get a whole lot more Zach exposure at the 11th hour. This is where we get the good shit. Like, look at these tiny-ass letters he gets from home.
Have good, clean fun.
But more importantly, we get to hear Zach make speeches to the entire house.
You may think this may be a personal against you. It honestly came at the last second to really figure out what I thought was the best to do. A lot of power, a lot of time to think over the course of the events.
I mean, the audience is used to his delusionally optimistic DR talk, but now the whole house gets to experience it. Though production does find some workarounds to minimize the Zach content.
I didn't get asked HOH questions.
Oh my god! That's so sad.
They permanently kill HOH interviews for the season, and there's definitely no "so who is the real Zach" segment with his family members. After guaranteeing his spot in the final three by the literal thinnest of margins, he chooses pretty much the dumbest moment to try and reinvent himself as the heroic anti-Donato spokesperson for the jury house. For reference, here's how a typical Final Four HOH goes.
Going up, Cody's, same thing as you. He's like, dude, I don't care if you put me up, it don't matter. It doesn't matter who I put up.
I mean, honestly, we shouldn't even care who goes up.
Beast mode. This is just a formality.
Judy!
This is Zach's approach.
Competing for $500,000. That's no joke. It's nothing to joke about. Never had any confirmation from anybody in this game that I had friends, somebody that has restored my faith with God. I would rather at least give her a fighting chance in this game, level the playing field, because you two dominated this game. And that is so unfair. Nobody had the stones to truly try and muscle you guys out. Well, I'm the muscle and I'm gonna try and muscle you out.
Okay, you do it, brother.
These nominations don't matter, but for some reason this does really well at the jury house.
Dick is losing it.
Wow.
Zach!
Wow.
Yes, he did.
What the?
He did.
Good for Zach.
Yes,
I'm
he
sorry.
did.
That was hair-raisingly good. I really enjoyed watching that.
That's what's so weird about all of this. He's getting laughed out of the room Gina Marie style. But if he manages to get to the final two, he will win.
I don't know if this makes you feel better or worse, Zach. It would have been a 6-1 vote. You would have crushed either one of them. Sorry.
And like Gina Marie, I'm sure he would have given us a fever dream final speech. What a tragedy. It would have been incredible. And all those fans who loved the bad man would have flipped their shit. Grodner's magical fairy tale season would have been a disaster. America's Player had allowed them to keep this storyline alive when it mattered. And it's not outrageous to say that the producers had a vested interest in preventing a Zach win. In a post-Helen Kim was pushed world, we have to take a long, hard look in the mirror at how this ends. And by that, I mean the theory that Dick can see all of Zach's answers during the final HOH in one of the 10,000 mirrors in the room. I don't know, I don't want to be conspiracy guy, so I won't dwell on this. I'll just say that once he gets the first question right, all Dick has to do is match Zach's answer every time.
Answers, please.
I'd recommend the Dom and Colin podcast's recap of Big Brother 8 for more details on this. That's where I first heard about it. They're the ones who radicalized me. Also, Dom and Colin are the ones responsible for encouraging Ian to bring Dolphincrash back to the Big Brother house, so we really do owe them our thanks. But all of this to say, we came close, perhaps closer than we initially realized, to an alternate timeline. One in which a man who we know almost nothing about with zero social capital almost won the game where that's supposed to matter. Instead, he left the house knowing that at the very least, he could try to sell some t-shirts.
Hopefully when you guys are winning all that crazy cash in the long run, you'll think about my inventions.
What's Dolphincrash?
You explain it.
This guy who made it to the final 3, great guy. He was really creepy, and it was women's bikinis, and like he wanted to hand out women's bikinis to people.
Does he still have the company?
No.
Thank
Like it's like a
God.
joke on him.
Yeah.
Getting to know each other, and he's like talking about how like he goes to sex clubs and there would be like women hanging from chains and literally like.
So the 15 minutes of fame didn't do much to improve Zach's social status in LA.
You that serious, bro? You're gonna do big things with your life, dude.
You're gonna do big things with your life. Piece of with flash, working $150 tonight. You.
Hey, wait a second, I know that guy. Zach entered the house as just some dude at the last second and instantly reverted back to that. And he doesn't have much of a legacy in the BB community either. I think people will always see him as a second-rate Howie. Speaking of which...
Nobody cares, man. No one cares.
He jumped over a bunny rabbit and got the second best player. Whereas he was third place in his season, he was probably like the 9th best player.
You're still a douche. I actually lasted 79 of 80 days and did not win second place by default.
It's okay. We're losing all track of hope here with this interview. Well, thanks for stopping by.
The only inkling about Dolphincrash we got on the show was this.
All I need is about $15,000, maybe 20 if I'm lucky, to do what I need to do.
Finding information on his post-Big Brother life is a nightmare. Thankfully, the Internet Wayback Machine has preserved bits and pieces, which means we have access to one of the greatest pieces of reality show journalism ever written, courtesy of quirky kitsch girl Tallahassee, with her landmark 2-part interview conducted with Zach in the back of Pocket's Sports Pub in Delhi. After a quick Big Brother autopsy, Zach launches into his grand vision for Dolphincrash. Here are some highlights, and I'll try to do this in like a Zach voice. The clothing line came up on a whim because of the tattoo design on my shoulder. It took me 3.5 years to come up with this design and truly perfect it. 3 to 4 weeks before applying for the show, I used my tax return to finance the first prototype. Since I had the tax return refund, this is what I needed to do it and put in money to do it. I don't know, maybe you should have bought a good couch? Despite having not yet made or sold any product yet, he hastily put together a trademark application, and the US government said, nah. Probably why the internet is now bursting with knockoffs after BB22. By the way, if you guys need the vector file for a more historically accurate recreation, hit me up. It took me 3.5 years to trace this. But anyway, a month after BB8 ended, Zach officially launched Dolphincrash.com. Though sadly it's text only on the Wayback Machine, which is a real crime because I want to know more about Dolphincrash at the Obama inauguration. If you liked Zach's bizarre little speeches on Big Brother, this would have been your all-time favorite website. Being a designer, surfer, and diver, I have dreamed the day I would be able to finally execute and create my surf company Dolphincrash. A simple design, great comfort, surf presence, and an edgy, practical feel made me realize it's not just a look, but a lifestyle. Dude, now's the moment to sell. Tell them your patented fabric design or some shit allowed you to survive the torrential downpour of the final HOH and defeat 2 people not wearing sleeves. More importantly, Dolphincrash was also a place where he could sell his high-end photography as like art pieces for exorbitant prices. A dolphin smile here will cost you $1,400, but this picture of a flower is on sale for $1,200 if that's too steep. For me, I love to be able to stare at an image. If I can sit there and stare at an image for 3 or 4 minutes, I know I've got something good. And yes, I think he asked several girls from BB8 to model the bikini line for him as well. Only Jen took him up on the offer, it seems. I dropped the entire stipend from the show already on product for the line, so I'm even. I don't have any money. I have lots of good ideas, and if anyone is willing to invest, I'm listening.
I'm out, but I also forbid any other shark in investing in this.
Unlike his grand designs for the Big Brother game, Dolphincrash never took off, sadly. Present-day Zach popped up on Twitter after Ian's big reveal to clarify that it was a bad idea that died the day it was born. Dolphincrash feels like a warning of the future influencers to come who use their reality exposure as a springboard for advancing their brand.
Tablecloth. I have the flamingo, but it comes in many patterns.
Tyler and Angela's goofy-ass necklace company is basically the same thing as Dolphincrash, really. And Zach, if you're watching, I'm sorry to trot you out for ridicule once again, but I am not kidding when I say you are a highlight of BB-8, for better or for worse. And I think memorable is as good as you can hope for on a season where you were mostly edited out. Dolphincrash was a hastily thrown together idea, and it didn't work out. Since you wanted to use Big Brother for clout, I think it's only fair to say that Dolphincrash now belongs to us. It's a piece of BB history for the fans, and I think we should keep its memory alive. I see so much of myself in you, Zach. I'm turning 30 this year. I'm also just a boring white man in marketing and graphic design. And like you, I also want to hitch my own brand with a potentially stupid name to the clout machine of Big Brother. And, well, I also just got my tax return, and I've got money to burn. Just under this tweet, I noticed McCrae from BB15 got in on the joke by announcing he bought the long-dormant Dolphincrash domain name. I should not be allowed to DM Big Brother alumni when I'm drunk, but I had to shoot my shot. I figured I'd at least get a chuckle out of them. I mean, there can't be... I am now the proud, outspoken owner of Dolphincrash.com. And I fucking bought it from McCrae from BB15. This is a life-defining moment for me. What I'm gonna do with it, I have no idea. But for now, it will link to this video, hopefully acting as a dragnet for any BB-8 rewatchers who finally reach that breaking point and start trying to Google what the fuck this logo is. Please comment if you're one of those people caught in my web. With this, my greatest accomplishment, I'm here to make a name for myself as a champion of Big Brother trash. I'm Barfbag. I only have like 50 subscribers, but I'm here to celebrate the weird parts of Big Brother and hopefully help you make some sense of this show. And with more trash on the way, maybe we need that more than ever. See you next time.